WatchmonPlus, we're introducing TestMon, and TestMon is there for us to be able to pre-configure all the cables. As you can see here, we've got a pre-configured loom on TestMon first, and when it's ready and it says that it's ready to do, we transfer it over to a WatchmonPlus. Let's now work through that process. We always take out the positive first, followed by the negative, and we always insert the negative first, followed by the positive. So negative, positive. With the ferrules, we also always make sure we have the negative in first, and then we add the positive in. And you'll see here we've got it in 15S mode. We've only got one button, so let's press it just briefly, and it says pass. And that means that this pre-configured battery pack that we had from before is all ready to go to be transferred back into the WatchmonPlus. We will also go through a 14S scenario, but on this 15S, we'll go through a couple of the scenarios that are very typical when you're connecting up a battery pack. So let's first remove one of the wires and see what happens. So I'm taking one of them out, making sure to be very careful not to bump it against anything. So we've now got 15S, so let's press it once, and it shows fail. C7, open. And so in this case, it's saying that there is no voltage here in that location, and C7 is cell 7. Alright, let's now remove a second pin, being very careful to make sure not to have it touch any other pins because it's connected to a battery pack. Transfer it straight across the original location, screw it back in, and add in the first. In this scenario, we've got pins that are swapped around, so the voltage is swapped. So we press the button, and it says fail. C7 is too high, C8 is negative, and C9 is too high. And that's because the voltage from each of these is swapped around. So the first one is much higher than it should be, the next one is an inverted voltage of it, and the next one after that is again, because of that inverted voltage, a significant jump too high. So let's now transfer those pins back to make sure that it's all okay. Remove the first one out, making sure not to bump anything. Take the second one out, placing it back into the first location, screwing it in, and adding the original one back in. Press the button, and it says pass. This means that we take the positive out, we take the negative out, and again we're ready to transfer this into the WatchmonPlus. Negative first, positive. So this 15 cell series battery pack has now been configured into a Watchmon, a 15 series system. Let's now move across to the 14S. So for a 14S battery pack, we have on the back of the WatchmonPlus a diagram. And this allows us to go from 10 cells in series all the way up to 15, and that shows us for each of the ones less than that what we need to configure. So for 14 cells in series, we need to have a jumper here, jumper 1, down here on the bottom. So let's have a look here. So there's jumper 1, which is showing that connection between pin 14 and 13 need to be shorted out together. So let's now work through that. So on this pre-configured battery pack we had from before, you can see that we've got this configuration. So let's take this out and have a look. In this case, you'll find here that we've already got the jumper in place between pin 13 and pin 14 in place. So let's place this into TestMon. Again, negative first, positive. It's in a 15S mode, so let's just press that to see what happens. So C14 is showing that it's got a short. So C14 here, that location is showing that it is not correct. Let's move this into a 14S mode. There we go. So if we now press the button, so it was a long press to move it to 14S mode. Let's press it now a short button press, and it says it's passed, and that's because it's ready to go. But let's look at what happens when we remove that jumper from the location. In this case, I'm removing it out. So it's out of the way, I press it, and it'll say fail, and the reason being is C14 has no jumper in place. So it's making sure that the configuration is correct before you insert it into a WatchmonPlus. So let's now insert it back in. Screw it back in properly. Okay, let's press the button briefly, and it says pass. That means this is ready for us to transfer over into the WatchmonPlus. So we remove it, carefully placing it into the same orientation. This is the negative side, and this is the positive side. And that completes where we now have a WatchmonPlus in 14 series with a battery pack with 14 in series.